Hello, and welcome to the 10th podcast. That is to say, Thriving in Technology. Your hosts are Sam Moulton and Cecilia Taylor, members of the Social and Influence team at NetApp. Today, we're going to be talking about the tools we all have in our pocketbooks to help us cope with uncertainty. But first, I have the pleasure of welcoming our guest for today, the lovely Nadine Cummings. Nadine, please introduce yourself to our listeners and tell them how they can find you in the social sphere, the Twitters.
Thanks, Cecilia. Hi, everybody. I'm Nadine Cummings, and I am the Technical Solutions Manager at Arrow Electronics. And you can find me at my Twitter handle, which is at Ms_Cummings. So that's MIZ_Cummings. And it is a pleasure to be here with you, Cecilia, and you, Sam, as well. Thank you, ladies, for having me on.
Well, we are very happy to have you. We've been looking forward to this for a while. And, how I'd like to get started is by having you tell the story about how we met, because I think our listeners like to know, how are these people connected and what happened first?
Right. So I was recently tapped by Mike Lugassi. And so for those of you who know Mike, really wonderful guy, technical partner manager who works at NetApp. And Mike and I met about 10 years ago, actually over the phone. Funnily enough, he was the one that gave the thumbs up to my channel manager at the time to hire me. And after we had interviewed over the phone, and then the rest is pretty much history in the making. So today we now work side by side collectively, providing training and developing NetApp relationships throughout North America for both big and small resellers alike. So I've been a part of the NetApp Rockstar Club, which is a quote unquote elite group of NetApp SMEs. And we get together quarterly, we swap ideas, we share information and so forth. And in all honesty, it's more of like a geek presentation and free beer at the end of the session. And so, but you always walk away feeling more knowledgeable, and it is a perfect excuse to mingle with fellow SCs. And so Mike had tapped me about a few weeks ago and asked, hey, would you like to join Sam Moulton's A-team? And this is a perfect opportunity with everything happening to create some awareness and build your brand and have more presence. And after listening to you both on the A-team meeting, I definitely wanted to jump on the opportunity to follow or understand how I can maneuver through Twitterverse. So that's pretty much how we came to get connected.
So you managed to sit through a presentation from me and Cecilia on the joys of social media. And then we took a look at your Twitter handle and we're like, oh boy, we got some work to do with this one. But Mike Lugassi spoke very highly of you, and he loved the idea of us kind of helping you grow your presence. And I want to ask you, how has that been going so far?
If I were to speak with integrity, and I should,
yes,
it could be better. I know I need to make it a scheduled type of activity or not place so much emphasis on getting it perfect and right. So that's one of the things I'm battling is, okay, I have a great idea for Twitter. I actually even have a list. And it seems good when I write it, and then I think too much. So
overthinking is a problem. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think overcoming the fear of trying to be perfect is something I need to master. With that in mind, I'm hoping that to make more tweets available.
More tweets available.
Weekly, monthly, etc.
I think the key, though, is to just do it. Borrow a sign from Nike and just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, even though people think that they're speaking of, the entire Twitter's verse. Don't worry about them. Only worry about, think about whether you're tweeting at Sam or tweeting at me. Think that you're just talking to us, like we're having a one-on-one conversation. And then the more you become comfortable with it, then you'll find that it'll flow easier. It becomes like anything else with practice, it becomes easier to do. So I would just encourage you to just keep on. If you're only able to do it once a week or twice a week, that's fine. just keep pushing at it. And eventually it'll flow where it needs to.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to take that piece of advice and do it. And also just do your best, right? Just do your best.
Sure.
I think we need to be accountability partners for Nadine. What do you say, Cecilia?
Sure.
Little regular check-ins. All right.
So now Cecilia has brought out the switch just now. I'm sorry. She said, sure.
Sure. How are we going to do it? Yeah. So now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about the pocketbook. So tell me, Nadine, what do you call that thing that you throw over your shoulder, or at least you used to throw over your shoulder when you left the house? We're all not going out as much, but what's the word that you use for that thing?
Funny. I'll be honest, you know what I've been carrying around as of late, and when I say as of late, maybe for like the last year, a wristlet.
Wristlet isn't even on our list. A wristlet. But, all right, keep going. Hey, keep going.
It is the thing. No, okay, wait. I do have a pocketbook / purse, but I don't even remember what I call it these days. I'll be honest. I will say purse, to be honest. But the wristlet it's like the new thing, right? It's handy. It's quick. I can throw all my debit cards in there and a lip gloss. I mean, what more do you need? So
you've never seen my pocketbook.
Well, you know, Sam and I talked about the term pocketbook because that's what our moms and grandma used to call it, or at least what we, it's just what we grew up hearing. And I guess we could do a poll on Twitter, but I digress, as I am wont to do.
That would be fun, though. I think we should do it.
But one of the things about a pocketbook or your purse or whatever, or even your wristlet, as you call it, is the fact that it carries the tools that we need to get through when we're out and about. And it's something that we use to cope and try. Like, I need lip gloss because, Lord, dry. But our pocketbook is what we use to help us in our way. And I think that we can think of that almost in another way in terms of it's our coping mechanisms. Right. And so as we're going through this time, we were talking about it, and Sam was saying that you belong to an amazing women's group that really helps you. And that can be one of those tools in that proverbial pocketbook. So could you tell us a little bit more about your experience in that group?
Sure. So recently I joined this group maybe about 2 months ago, and I'm still in it. It's a process, and it's called Be the Tree. And what it does is it's an ability to stretch beyond my growing edge, right? So one of the mantras we have is to expose myself, to expand myself, and things like maintaining or living in integrity. It's pretty much like a covenant to embrace your womanhood and create and embrace your vision and your purpose, a birthright, so that you can expand. And lately, it has opened my eyes to the things that I want to change within myself, my past and where I want to go. And if I were to provide an analogy to that and carrying a purse and the necessities in a purse, what I've learned from this collective women's group is to carry those things that I hold dear, like my integrity, not taking things personally, growing beyond other folks' actions and thoughts, and building my own brand internally and externally. So this women's group has been it's a journey. I really hope it doesn't stop, but it has been wonderful. So it's called Be the Tree. One of the mantras we say is, be the tree you were born to be, deeply rooted, strong, and free. And so now I pass that on to you, Cecilia, and you say, yes, I will be the tree I was born to be, deeply rooted, strong, and free. And then you pass it to Sam, and then Sam passes it on. But it's a wonderful mantra to carry with you.
I love that. And one of the things that you had mentioned when we spoke about it the last time was that you don't get away with anything, that when you are not speaking the truth, that you are held accountable. So tell me how does that work?
Oh my goodness, the integrity piece, right? So integrity is one of the things that we speak on every day or every time we meet. Whether somebody shows up 5 minutes late, you're now out of integrity. We've all agreed to be here at a certain time, and somebody is 5 minutes late, and I am always late. But I'm
can
going to tell you,
to that.
I do not want to be called out, so I am on that phone 3 minutes before. But take into account how important that is in your life, right? Walking in integrity, because it makes you unmovable, unshakable, right? So one of the assignments we had was integrity bucks. And so
integrity bucks?
Integrity bucks, like money.
Okay.
So if your integrity was money, and let's just say you received $1,000 a day in integrity bucks, how much would you have left at the end of the day? That's the question, right? So, Sam, it is, it's Monday morning. Go to work with $1,000 of integrity bucks. How much would you have left at the end of that week? Would you be able to feed, clothe, and pay your bills every day if you were paid with integrity bucks and gained and lost money based on how much you honored or dishonored your word?
Okay.
And so if I see Cecilia laughing. No, think about it. So for instance, I'll walk out the house and I'll go to Stop and Shop with my integrity bucks, and somebody cut me off in the parking lot. And immediately you think, bleepity bleep, or what, and those are the type of things where you now have to deduct money from your integrity bank. So you start off, but at the end of each incident where you're out of integrity, whether it's with your patients, whether it's with your words, especially with your words, but guess what? Even in your head, because I can't tell you, I have a 5-year-old. I say some things in my head. Okay. But you're out of integrity speaking those things, even in your mind, right? So it has really forced me to look at how I think, and it's a real learning process. I'm enjoying it. It's like being naked,
wow,
but without judgment.
It sounds very intense, I have to say. And so let me ask you, when you get to the end of the week, have you noticed that you're left with more money as time goes on, or how does that work?
It's funny, I had an argument with myself. Should I deduct that? No, that doesn't count, but it's the truth. But so by the end of the week, I did have some money left over, but you know what it did? It forced me to realize how much time I was spending on this one issue. You ever fight with yourself about the same thing, or you're mad at somebody and you're fighting in your head with
festering.
that person?
It's festering.
Yes,
yeah.
Festering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost a lot of money in that bucket. So it made me aware, like you're spending way too much time thinking about this person and being angry at this person. That's out of integrity with your spirit, right? That's out of integrity with your growth. You can't shine, you can't grow. So I was left with some money, but not enough to pay bills.
Okay. Well, so it was just a 1 week thing, or is it something now that you went through that experiment or that trial or whatever, it seems like it's still in your head.
Yeah, it's still in your head. I mean, we were given it as an assignment for, I think, 3 days. Try doing it for life, and I think eventually you learn from it.
Yeah.
I probably should pick that back up, though.
Well, I have to admit, I'm envious. It sounds like an amazing group to have that kind of support from women, and to be in a place where you feel safe enough to really share, and to have people holding you accountable. I think that you're very fortunate to be part of that.
Thanks, Sam. And you know what? I actually welcome any and every woman who wants to join this to reach out to me, and I will connect you to this group. Perfect timing. Yeah, perfect timing. I think a new one will start, a new chapter or a new process of women or new graduate class. I don't know how to call it, but it's open to everyone, and I encourage everybody to join it. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter how old you are. And I really am honest about that, because we have women in this. My particular group has women from as young as 21 to 67, and it's not about age. It's not about how much you make, or we have so much in common. It's unbelievable, unbelievable.
Well, I myself might take you up on that. I'm writing it down right now to remind myself to talk to you about it.
Please do.
Yeah. Shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about another coping skill. There have been a lot of articles that have been written recently, especially during this particular time, about the benefits that journaling, that writing about how you're feeling can help with mental health. And I have to admit, I am a rainy day journaler. I wish I were more consistent, but I get off to a great start. I've got, day after day of, I'm writing it in, I'm doing well. And then I get busy with something. And, I am amazing with my ability to forget things, literally like forget I was even doing something. But anyway, enough about me. What, is this something that you've tried to do at all?
I will say this, being in this women's collective has forced me to journal, because they ask questions and then you must write. And writing, it really exposes a lot about yourself. And so it's been something that I do maybe twice every other 2 days or every other 3 days. But the questions that are asked, and journaling those questions, sometimes someone asks you a question and you can answer it in your head, but imagine getting 5 minutes to write it. You stay a lot more with that pen than you do in your head. So
yeah, you really think it through, quote unquote.
Right. So it's helped. Journaling has helped. It's like exposing yourself to expand yourself, that mantra.
The journaling that I find myself most able to stick with, or the one that seems like less of a heavy load, is a gratitude journal. So, when I get back on my, mission, to keep up with journaling, I just think about, okay, what are the 3 things, every day, what are the 3 things that you're grateful for? And it's amazing that once you get in that practice, you start seeing things. You're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to include that in my journal today. And I'm going to include that. And oh, wow, I have way more than 3 things today, which, is sort of part of that process. It's part of the positive aspect of doing it. And, talking amongst ourselves now about journaling makes me realize that I do miss it. It's something that works, I think, really well.
I love that idea. Gratitude journal. I love that. I'm going to write that down. How about you, Cecilia?
Well, the funny thing is, I have never journaled before until COVID-19, the coronavirus, reared, and this concept of being at home in this unprecedented time. And I'm motivated by tools. So if I can find a good tool that I could use, I'm super happy. So what I decided to do was create a journal for every day that we're in this shelter in place type of environment. I found an online tool called Day One, which is an electronic journal that allows you to enter your entries. You can use it on your iPhone. You can email to your journal so that it's just a quick email to the journal and it creates a separate entry. You can use it on desktop, whichever way that kind of works for you. You can create a journal. You can create different journals. I think I did pay for like the annual fee, which was some nominal amount, but you also have the ability to print the journals at any point. So and have them bound into like a book. And one of the things that I often think about, especially as I get a bit older, is leaving a legacy for my children so that they can read about what I was thinking about. Mm-hmm. So in the unprecedented times of 2020 coronavirus, for them to be able to say, what was I thinking during that time? So I date each entry with the day. So today is day 67 for me. for this particular journal. And when this is over, I will probably start a new journal. But the thing that I love about it is there's some days I have one sentence. There are some days when I have paragraphs. And what it has helped me to do is to think through what I'm thinking about internally. I think sometimes we go through things and we kind of feel them, but we don't necessarily put them into words. And by thinking in terms of what is my future self going to read, or what are my children going to think about what I was thinking about at that particular time, I have to be clear about what I'm feeling. I have to be clear about what I'm actually thinking. And most importantly, I have to be honest. And it forces me to be honest with myself so that I can understand what's really going through my mind, to show maybe a more clear picture of myself. So I have entries that are specific to the news that's happening. I have interests that are specific to, I found a worship service that I really liked, and there was a message online and I wanted to share the link because one day, hey, maybe I want to go back to it. Or there's a photo. I took a picture of my niece. She's newborn, and I wanted to share this in the journal because these are all the things that are going on in my life at this time. And I have to say, it's been very, very helpful for me to stay focused and to actually believe, this is a season. To everything and everything under heaven, there is a purpose and a time. And eventually this season will end. But being able to capture this season while it's actually happening, I think is a unique process. So journaling for me has been different. I like using a tool versus a paper journal because I, like Sam, I will buy little journals because they look pretty, and then I will put them off to the side.
Yeah, I've got a whole shelf of them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful leather-bound books, right?
Yeah, pretty colors. Yeah. I have to admit, I really like the feel of a pen, and I like the paper. I've tried some of the other, like people have told me, yeah, I just type it right into because there's a couple of different apps that you have on your phone already, right? And I don't get that same thing from it. I need to see the words on paper. Writing something down helps me remember. So yeah, but that one sounds really cool. I love the idea. You could email yourself something.
Yeah.
You can put a photo in there. I like that. I like that a lot.
You can even put in audio recordings. So if you wanted to, so like on my iPad, I have it so that I can open it up and just press a button and record an audio note rather than actually typing.
Like one of those weird people that walks around talking into their phone. Oh,
right. But I think what's key is it's whatever your method is, whether you're writing it down or you're speaking into an app or you're typing it out on long form, whatever it is, it's keeping the habit to be conscious about our thoughts and to be conscious about how we're feeling and being able to share that, whether or not anybody else ever reads it, whether or not it ever goes anywhere, it allows us to center. And I think that for me, the reason why I use it as a coping mechanism is because it allows me to keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
I love the idea that you.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that I never thought about it sooner.
I love the idea, though, that you've left this, or the thought is, I want my children to understand what I was going through at the time and leave something for them. It's almost like a legacy. I love that.
Yeah. Lots of food for thought here. So we're going to move on to our little segment that we do where we talk about the feedback that we get on the Twitterverse. If Sam remembers to actually tell people we're going to be doing a recording, which I amazingly remembered to do very late last night, but I was really pleased with the response. We had, what did I tell you? We had 15 likes and 5 retweets and 10 comments, and they were very similar in some ways and very different in others. So what I asked people to do was to share what their coping skills have been during this unprecedented time. And I will say that cooking probably comes out right on top. So we had Paula Silva and Kat Troyer and Amy Lewis, and who else was talking about cooking? But I loved when Amy said that she's cooking from scratch. I think that sort of is, kind of a return to simpler times, right? And I really like that. Paula Silva's also doing breathing exercises using like the 4-7-8 method, which I have no idea what she's talking about. So I'm gonna have to talk to her about that later. And, being outside and, just walking and, let's see who brought that up. Let's see, Mel Zura, I think, talked about being outside. She talked about church. Who else? Gosh, I'm just scanning this list here. I got such great feedback. So Becky Elliott talked about walks, but she said not gardening because she's had some difficulties with keeping things alive. But MJ Schmidt said, again, it's with the walking and the gardening. Anusha S., I actually have to find out who Anusha is, but she talked about the joys of video chatting with her sister and seeing her 3-month-old niece, so she wouldn't have been able to visit with otherwise. Our friend Nana, who Cecilia and I met at Insight one year, she's been able to make some extra income online doing some for a marketing organization, which is pretty cool. And she's a big fan of, and I don't know if I have this right, but TLC Lasso tea, which she's using for detoxing and cleansing. And I don't want to forget anybody. Oh, Karen Lopez had a good one. Naps. Who doesn't love a nap?
Yeah.
Okay, if you can actually take the nap, if you can shut the brain off long enough to take a nap. And Kirsten Nelson, she had something I thought that was really sweet. She has started leaving out a basket with treats for the delivery people, because of course, all of us are ordering far more online than we ever did. And she sent a picture of that. That was really, I thought that was such a nice thing to do. And I'm hoping I didn't miss anybody. I don't think I did. I think I got us all, but great feedback, everybody. And really appreciated that you spent the time to weigh in.
So many helpful things and so many great suggestions that maybe we might think about. I really need to do that walking where I, take a few more walks around the block. These are all helpful tools in our pocketbooks, those essential tools that help us to cope in these times. We barely scratched the surface, and as much as we'd like to keep going, we do have to get back to those day jobs. But this episode would not be complete without the choice to put our guest on the spot and make them answer a surprise question that we didn't share in advance. Or did we? We'll never know.
Uh-oh.
So here's the question, and I will actually answer it at some point. One of the things I've done is I like to binge watch shows on the lovely tubes. And depending on your streaming platform, you might have a specific one. I guess my question is, what was the most recent show or series that you binge watched? And did you enjoy it?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I don't mind. So I love that question, by the way. Watching.
Did you help? Wait a minute. You didn't help us come up with that question, did you?
No, not at all.
Oh. Okay.
I might have a little, but I still love that question regardless, because I think everybody's binging right now, whether it's on food, alcohol, and definitely streaming, yep. Right? Yeah. So I'll be honest, what is so odd about my answering is that I can't pick one thing. I feel like I binge on Pinterest. I feel like I binge on YouTube videos. Some of the saddest stuff on YouTube. I love YouTube. I mean, I've got crabgrass. I watched this, a couple of videos last night on how to kill crabgrass and clovers growing in my lawn. Very, very interesting. And then I saw dogs that bunnies have believed is now their mother. I mean, it's just amazing what people put out. Would you like to watch this too? Like, yeah, why not? And before you know it, you're sitting there watching YouTube. But if I were more specific about what I'm watching on Netflix, I started to pick back up How to Get Away with Murder. I love that show. Yeah. Yes, who doesn't love Annalise Keating?
Yeah, I watched like the first couple of seasons, and then I don't know. This is what it happens to us all the time, where we start watching something, we're so into it, and then the season ends, and we go off to something else, and we kind of forget to go back. Yeah. Which is why I like it when you can watch everything in this, from that show. Like, in other words, it has 5 seasons. The show is already ended. So,
Right.
you've got 5 seasons to work your way
Right.
through. That is like, you feel so rich, don't you? You feel so rich when you have that much content to watch, right? But I will say that the one that we're kind of stuck on right now, it's not something, no, how do I want to say this? We love fantasy and, magic and, like the Game of Thrones type things. And this is kind of a mishmash of that. It's on Netflix and it's called The Witcher. And it is so good. And interestingly enough, it's based on a game. Because, when my son recommended, he goes, Mom, he says, I don't know if you're going to like it because it's based on a game. And I'm like, I don't care. If something's good, I don't care where it comes from. But yeah, we're really enjoying that. We're not even through the first season yet. And, they're long. They're like an hour long. So you can really only get like one in a night. And that's a good thing, because when we start getting close to the end, I start feeling like we have to slow down. We can't, it's going to be gone too soon. I mean, like shows like, yeah, we did that with Modern Family, interestingly enough, because everybody, had been talking about Modern Family forever. And we're like, not watching that. It's a 30-minute, it's a comedy. Loved it. We got, 10 seasons, right? And we were able to go through most of it all at the very same time. And it was just amazing. So, all right, enough about me. Cecilia, you're on the hook.
Well, I completely agree with you about the idea of watching when you have a lot of seasons. I accidentally started watching a series on Netflix called Supernatural. I had never heard of it before.
Oh, love Supernatural. Yeah.
And by the time I got to season 14, I was like, I started to space out. Yeah, there's actually 15 seasons. I'm waiting until the 15th season comes on, and then I'm good. But I started actually dreading it, the end. So I kind of stretched out my binge watching.
Yeah.
But the series the series that I watched most recently was actually on Prime Now, and it's called Upload. And it's a really interesting, quirky series. It's only 10 episodes to this first season. Okay. And it's about if you could upload your consciousness after you die to these various heaven realms. It is very interesting. You have to suspend your belief. You have to suspend any beliefs you have. You have to suspend any sense of reality as well to watch it. But it's a really fun type of show, and it's kind of sweet. Unfortunately, one of the problems with some shows is they tend to try to leave some cliffhangers, and you're like, ugh. But
so is it?
But
done?
I really enjoyed it. Yes. The season is done. It has already been renewed. It's already been renewed for a second season. Okay. But right now it's just one season out there. Go it's a fast watch. You would not think you're going to get through 10 episodes that quickly, but it's great. And what's really interesting is there's so many little Easter eggs in there, and there's a lot of commentary about capitalism in there that are kind of quirky and fun. So I want to actually see the series again. I think I'm going to go back and watch it again because I know I missed some stuff. So I want to actually see it again. So I do love it. I love the whole concept of binging. My husband has a two episode limit though. We can only watch 2 episodes of any show
at a time
together at a time.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. I guess that's one of those marriage closet items.
Yes.
It's a whole other thing.
You agreed, Cecilia.
Right.
You agreed.
Oh yes, it's a marriage closet item.
Okay, cool.
Well, that kind of wraps up this episode for the day. I have had a blast talking to you.
Time has flown.
Sharing with you. Really.
This has actually been great, to be honest. I'm enjoying this. Do we have to end right now?
Well, we kind of do. At some point, we kind of have to end them.
Well, we have to at least turn off the recording.
Exactly. But to our listeners out there, we thank you. We know there's a bunch of podcasts you could be listening to, and we really appreciate the time you took to spend with us. We hope you'll add us to your queue of must-listen podcasts. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear from you. Let us know what works, what doesn't, what could we improve. send us an email at ngtentpodcast@netapp.com or find us on the Twitters, and we'll be happy to chat with you. Thanks again for listening. Until next time.